Hello there, this is Richard from Death and Service, bringing you another video diary. Today coming from St John's Church in Pilton to the east of Glastonbury. Pilton itself, lovely little village, nice and peaceful for 50 weeks of the year, and then in June in the summer a little farm down the road called Worthy Farm opens its doors to the Glastonbury Festival, and so this changes significantly. Just one Commonwealth War grave. Sorry, my eyes caught by that shadow there. There we go. Just one Commonwealth War grave here from the First World War, and in actual fact the cross is the grave that we're going to be looking at, which is this one. If I can try and get it without the sunlight on it. There we go. This is the last resting place of Percy Wright Rodgers, or Sapper Rodgers, from the army as he was. Percy Wright Rodgers was born in June 1888 here in Pilton. He was the fifth of 11 children to Levi and Elizabeth Rodgers. The 1901 census found Levi listed as a butcher and publican in the village. 10 years later, he listed himself as a butcher, slaughterman and shopkeeper. Percy followed in his father's footsteps. By the time of the 1911 census, he was boarding with a family in Swanage down in Dorset and was working as a butcher's assistant. 1913 was a busy year for Percy. He married Frances Bower. They had their first child, Percy Augustus, and he emigrated to the United States. Francis and Percy Jr. following on a year later. The 1915 New York census records Percy and the family as living in the town of Cortland, around 200 miles north of New York City. Percy describes himself as a meat cutter, following in his father's footsteps, and now he and his wife have a second child, Vera, who was born in the United States. Sapper Rodgers joined the Canadian Engineers in May 1918. He was shipped abroad back to the United Kingdom, but his service appeared somewhat short-lived. At some point he contracted pneumonia and was admitted to the Canadian Hospital in Eastbourne in East Sussex. He passed away on the 5th of November 1918, aged just 30 years of age and just 6 months after enlisting. With his family being back here, Sapper Percy Wright Rodgers was brought back to Somerset for burial, and he was laid to rest in his home village here in Pilton. His grave is topped with a cross dedicated by his widow Frances.